Don't lick the Yeti and other camping rules. The family camping trip to Mount Everest was supposed to be about fresh air, toasting marshmallows, and looking at stars. For 7-year-old Leo, it was mostly about the rules. His dad had made a list. It was written on a piece of cardboard with a piece of charcoal from the campfire and was propped up against a log for everyone to see. The official camping rules: 1. Don't feed the bears, even if they have good manners. 2. Always check your shoes for scorpions. They are terrible roommates. 3. Do not use your sister as bait. 4. If a mountain goat winks at you, slowly back away. 5. And, written in big, bold, underlined letters, absolutely, positively, do not lick the Yeti. Leo stared at Rule 5. Dad, he said, munching on a slightly too toasty marshmallow. What's a Yeti? Big fella, his dad said, poking the fire. Lots of hair, big feet, very shy, and, according to legend, he tastes interesting. You licked one? Leo gasped, his eyes wide. Once, when I was a kid, my tongue stuck for a full minute. It was like licking a frosty, hairy snow cone that's disappointed in your life choices. Hence, the rule. Leo nodded seriously. It seemed like a very specific and important rule. That night, tucked into his sleeping bag next to his snoring sister, Eliza, Leo found he couldn't sleep. The forest was too noisy. There were hoots and chitters, and the wind sighing through the trees. And then he heard another sound. Crunch, crunch, crunch. It wasn't a small sound. It was a big, foot in a snowy cereal bowl sound. Leo slowly unzipped his tent and peeked out. There, in the moonlight, by the remains of their campfire, was the Yeti. He was enormous, covered in shaggy white fur that glowed in the silvery light. His feet were, indeed, gigantic, and he looked sad. He was holding one of Leo's dad's forgotten mittens and sighing a sigh that made the pine needles tremble. The Yeti wasn't scary. He was lonely. Leo, being a kind-hearted boy, knew what to do. When someone is sad, you offer them a treat. He crept out of the tent, tiptoed past the snoring lump that was his dad, and went to the food cooler. He found the best thing he could: a bright red, extra large, double pop, rocket-shaped popsicle. He walked slowly towards the Yeti, holding out the popsicle like a peace offering. The Yeti jumped, startled. He pointed a shaky, furry finger at the cardboard sign. He couldn't talk, but his meaning was clear. Rule 5. It's not for licking you, Leo whispered. It's for you to lick. The Yeti's big, sad eyes widened with understanding. He took the popsicle with surprising gentleness. He stared at it, confused. He'd never seen one before. You have to lick it, Leo whispered, demonstrating on his own hand. The Yeti carefully stuck out a long, blue tongue and gave the popsicle a tentative lick. His eyes lit up like two full moons. It was delicious. He started licking happily, a deep, rumbling purr vibrating in his chest. Lick, purr, lick, purr. It was a wonderful moment of interspecies friendship, and that's when things went wrong. The Yeti, in his excitement, licked a little too vigorously. The top of the rocket popsicle broke off and flew through the air, sploot, landing directly on the tip of Leo's nose. It was cold. It was sticky. It was very, very red. The Yeti gasped, a look of pure horror on his face. He looked from the red splotch on Leo's nose to Rule 5. He had broken the rule. He hadn't meant to lick the small human, but the evidence was right there, dripping down his face. Panic ensued. The Yeti, trying to help, grabbed the first thing he saw to clean Leo's face, his dad's woolly sweater, which was hanging on a branch. He began furiously buffing Leo's nose, which only made it redder and now also very fuzzy. Grumph, Leo mumbled, his lips flapping from the buffing. The commotion woke up Leo's sister, Eliza, who peeked out of the tent, saw a giant hairy monster apparently eating her brother's head, and screamed, "He's using Leo as a snack!" This woke up Dad, who burst out of the tent with a flashlight and a frying pan. "Stand back, kids. I'll wait. What on earth is going on here?" The scene was bizarre. Leo had a fuzzy red nose and looked like a demented reindeer. The Yeti was frozen in terror, holding a damp, hairy sweater and a half-eaten popsicle. Eliza was pointing accusingly. Dad looked at the Yeti. The Yeti looked at Dad, then pointed a trembling finger at Rule 5. His eyes filled with guilt, and Dad did something unexpected. He started to laugh. It was a big, booming laugh that echoed through the trees. "So," he chuckled, "the old popsicle to the nose trick, a classic. I see you've met my son, Leo. And it seems," he said, looking at the Yeti's sticky red paws, "that he's already given you the official camping welcome." The Yeti shyly held up the popsicle stick. "I think he wants another one," Leo said, picking fuzz out of his nostrils. So, they did what any sensible people would do. They raided the cooler. They sat around the cold fire pit, a man, 2 kids, and a massive Yeti, and shared a package of double chocolate cookies and the last 3 popsicles, which were handled very carefully. The Yeti, whose name was apparently Bernard, he spelled it out with twigs, wasn't scary or lickable. He was just a guy who lived on a cold mountain and got lonely sometimes. As the sun began to rise, painting the sky pink, Bernard the Yeti gave a grateful wave with his giant, furry hand and disappeared back into the misty trees. Dad picked up the piece of cardboard with the rules on it. He turned it over and, with a new piece of charcoal, began to write. New official camping rules. Uno. Always pack extra popsicles. 2. Do not blame the Yeti for fuzzy noses. 3. If a mountain goat winks at you, maybe he just has something in his eye. 4. Absolutely, positively, share your snacks with the Yeti. Leo climbed back into his sleeping bag, his nose still a little red and tickly. As he drifted off to sleep, the last thing he heard was his dad muttering to himself by the cool fire ashes. Frosty, hairy snow cone. I must have been thinking of a different Yeti.